Okay, welcome to our Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024 regular council meeting. And I will begin with a land acknowledgement that the City of Fort Saskatchewan is located within Treaty 6 territory in Métis Nation of Alberta, District 11, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Nihilwak, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, and Métis. And we acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for generations. It is because of our treaty relationship that we can live, work, and play on Treaty 6 territory. All right, so first item of business that we have is consent agenda. There are two items, the meeting minutes of January 9th and the public member appointments. If anybody would like to make the motion, Councillor Macon.
I'll make the motion that council approve the following agenda items. 3, approval of the minutes of January 9th, 2024 regular council meeting, and 5.2 Fort Saskatchewan public member appointments.
Okay, thank you. And if anybody wishes to have any of these separated, they may do so at this time. And if not, we'll open it for discussion and debate. Not seeing anything. I will close the motion. Please cast your vote. And that is carried. The next item that we have is delegations. If there's anybody present or is pre-registered, which nobody has at this time, and not seeing anybody in the audience that isn't a staff member. So with that, I will ask for anybody if there's any delegations, and there doesn't appear to be any. So we will move on to new business, which is 5.1 commuter transit route change. Lindsay Radford.
Okay, so good afternoon, Madam Mayor and members of council. So today we will be providing you all with more information on the proposed commuter transit change.
Can you pull the mic a little closer?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So just a little bit of background on where we have come from today. So throughout the summer and fall of 2023, administration identified the need for a change to the commuter transit service and began evaluating different options with the goal of increasing ridership. After an initial evaluation, administration began working with Strathcona County to assess the feasibility of a route connecting Fort Saskatchewan and Sherwood Park. Strathcona County submitted an official service proposal in October, details of which were shared with council at that time. In November and December, Fort Sask Transit engaged with passengers to gather feedback on the possible change. So just to go over what the route change actually is. So the new route would connect the Dow Centennial Center with the Bethel Transit Terminal in Sherwood Park via Highway 21 and would be operated by Strathcona County Transit. The local service here in Fort Saskatchewan would need to be adjusted to ensure service coverage, as well as to make sure that connections could be made with the commuter service and the services of Strathcona County Transit. With a change like this, there would be many impacts to passengers, so we did include those in our evaluation. So passengers traveling to the downtown area of Edmonton would not have a significant time change to their travel times or to the scheduled times, so it would be staying mainly the same. But passengers traveling to the north side of Edmonton would see a significant increase to their travel time. For now, they would have to go into Sherwood Park to then travel to the north side of Edmonton. But passengers with the new ARC system would be able to use the same ARC card on both Strathcona County Transit and the Fort Saskatchewan routes, creating a seamless travel from a fare payment perspective. So just a quick overview of the financial impacts. So the proposed proposal from Strathcona County would be accommodated within the existing proposed net 2024 budget. So there would be no impact to the operating budget. Then just a little bit of information on the feedback that was collected. So we did the public survey during November and December of 2023, and we did this through various channels. Passengers were asked if they would be able to continue to reach their final destination using this new route to Sherwood Park. There were 453 surveys that were submitted, and of those, 56.5% answered that they currently use the Route 580. And it should be noted that there's a significant number of surveys that were submitted. 453 was a lot more than we were expecting. So this does show quite a high level of interest in transit in Fort Saskatchewan. Of the respondents who stated that they use the commuter service, 83.6% stated that they would be able to continue to reach their final destination with the new route. Factoring these percentages on the average number of 50 passengers per day that we currently transport, administration estimates that there would be approximately 8 passengers that would be negatively impacted by this change. There were some other general themes that we also heard through the survey. These included that passengers would actually like to see the current route remain with an additional route to Sherwood Park added. They would also like to see service frequencies increase throughout the weekday, and also the introduction of evening and weekend service. So just some next steps that we would proceeding after this council meeting today. So if the recommendation is approved, administration would inform Strathcona County and begin the process of drafting a contract agreement and documenting a communication plan. The communication plan will include details on how the city will work with Strathcona on a joint communication plan to inform passengers of the change and to market the change to hopefully a new market of residents in Sherwood Park and Fort Saskatchewan traveling between the two communities. Some different tactics that we will employ include social media posts, website updates, roadside signage, digital screens and posters at various facilities, and outreach with our partner agencies. It is anticipated that communications could start as early as March if the change is approved, so that we could ensure that post-secondary students are informed before the summer begins. The service change, if approved, would be implemented during the summer so that we could take advantage of nicer weather during a change like this, and also when our ridership is lower over the summer. So based on the evaluation and feedback that we have received, administration is recommending that council approve a change to the commuter route to connect the Dow Centennial Centre with the Bethel Transit Terminal in Sherwood Park, using Strathcona County Transit as the service provider.
Okay, thank you. So we'll do questions first. Councillor Harris?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, and when the time comes, I'd be prepared to put the motion on the floor. First question, so at present, how long does it take 580 to get from our transit station to Clareview under normal driving conditions?
Madam Mayor, through to Councillor, it takes approximately 30 minutes.
So that's 30 minutes. How much time does it take on estimation to get from our transit center to Bethel now?
We are scheduling again 30 minutes to do that.
So it's kind of a wash from that standpoint. Okay, and that's just through the traffic and in and out and that sort of stuff. So when people get to Bethel, they will then have to change onto one of several routes, I would imagine. Is that the way Strathcona set it up, so that they have something going to Government Center, something going to U of A, something going to NAIT, or is it one that goes to a hub and then you transfer again? What's that look like?
Madam Mayor, through to the Councillor, yes. The system in Sherwood Park is designed as a hub and spoke system, so all of their local routes come into Bethel, and then they have multiple routes going into Edmonton from Bethel, going to Government Center as one direct route, to downtown and McEwen, to NAIT, and to the University of Alberta, all as separate direct routes.
Okay, so they've got that well. They've been doing that for quite some time, so they've got that figured out. So when people get from Fort Saskatchewan to Bethel, they'll have pretty good indication of where they have to go to get on whatever bus it is.
That is correct, yeah. And the timing of the Fort Saskatchewan route would be timed to connect with all of those commuter routes departing the Bethel terminal into Edmonton.
So we're making some changes locally so that we can make that connection as seamless as possible. Good. Correct. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Nguyen?
Just a question on the ART card, because you mentioned that they'll be able to use it in Sherwood Park. Is that also be able to be used with ETS system? I think it is. But
Madam Mayor, through to the councillor, correct. The ART card is used on all 7 participating transit agencies in the region.
Okay, great. And then just a follow-up question. Where's the closest stop to North Edmonton from Bethel for those concerned that they're able to get to that vicinity if they need to?
Currently, the most northerly location would be to Nate. And then they can access the LRT from there, or they could go to Churchill Station downtown and connect to the LRT and go north from there.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the questions that I have, because I know you said about 8 people said they would be negatively impacted. Did you have a chance, and I know it's a reach, to reach out to like any of the grade 12 students who are going to go to university to see how many potentially might utilize this service?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we actually went through the Youth Council and used our contacts here in FCSS to go out to the schools. And we believe that the large number of survey respondents is partially due to the number of students that filled out the survey.
And the response?
We don't have the ability to go in just by schools, but we believe that a lot of their responses were those that were in favor. There was a lot of the general feedback that we received talking about their reluctance to transfer to the LRT, but their eagerness to use the Strathcona services. And many university students had already stated in the survey that they drive to Bethel today to use the commuter services from Strathcona. So this way they would be able to take the bus from the fort.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'm not seeing any additional questions, so I'll go to you, Councillor Harris, for the motion. Can you push your button?
I'd be prepared to move that council approve the proposed change to the commuter transit service, being that Route 580 connect the Dow Centennial Center Park and Ride with the Bethel Transit Terminal in Sherwood Park, Strathcona County, via Highway 21 as presented.
All right, I'll accept the motion. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Yeah, I'm glad to see that this has come up because I think it's probably a better level of service, notwithstanding there'll be a few people that might feel they're negatively impacted. But again, with any change, people have to get used to it and they may find ways to make it work for them. I was really disappointed when the Regional Transit Commission collapsed because the City of Edmonton chose to not fund it. I think it would have been very positive for everybody because we could have maintained the service to Clairview and we could have done exactly what we're doing today to authorize a new level of service to Sherwood Park. But in light of the challenges that I think ETS is having in Edmonton with the LRT and security and disorder and that sort of thing, I think this will hopefully provide a higher level of safety and comfort for people going forward. So I think it's an appropriate thing to do, and we have heard for a long time that people would like to see a service to Strathcona. So I'm glad to see it's gotten to that point. So I will support it on that basis.
Okay, thank you. It's open for discussion and debate. Councillor Macon.
Thank you. I'm going to support the motion. Out and about in the community on social media, I've received a lot of positive feedback about this change. I know that post-secondary students are really excited about it. The families of those students are really excited about it. And I had a lady reach out to me to tell me how it was going to open up a lot more job opportunities in an area where she wanted to be. So I really look forward to this being implemented. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Blissard.
Yeah, I'm going to support this motion too. I know my daughter parked at Bethel Transit Station many times when she was going to university, so a bus might have been handy then, and I think it'll be handy now.
Okay, thank you. So for myself, of course, I was very supportive of this when this came forward. We've heard from like Robin Hood Association before that they would really like this link, and they actually came to us several years ago and made a presentation and said it would open the doors for them to get to other doctors' appointments and to their affiliates in Sherwood Park as well. And you know, I have heard from many high school students or those who are going to university, and it will give them the opportunity if they want to choose to park here and catch the bus as opposed to driving over to Bethel as well. And you know, when we talked about it, we didn't know how many for sure are doing that. So hopefully this will give us a better indicator. And, you know, I just feel that Sherwood Parks or Strathcona County's transit route is safe. I think people have a better comfort level with that one. So I'm very supportive of this change. Anybody else? Okay, not seeing anybody else. All right, Councillor Harris to close. What? You have to push your button.
Just one final question. What kind of a highway coach are they going to use for this one? Because ETS was using the long one, then they cut it down to the short highway coach. Are they going to be using similar equipment, or what will they be using?
Yes, Madam Mayor, through to the councillor. They will be using their 40-foot Nova buses. So Strathcona County operates either double-deck buses or their regular single-deck Nova buses. So for the ridership that we are anticipating, we will be utilizing one of their Nova 40-foot buses.
So that's about a 44 passenger.
They range from 38 passenger to 46 passengers.
Okay, so if we get good response, they'll have the appropriate rolling stock to be able to have people moving in comfort.
Correct.
Hopefully nobody's standing up.
Correct, yes.
Well, that would actually be a good thing in one regard. Anyways, I have nothing more to add other than that one final question.
Okay, the motion is now closed. Please cast your vote. And that is carried unanimously. Great, thank you very much. I will ask, member appointments was under consent. Are there any notice of motions? Not seeing any. Any points of interest? And I think under points of interest, I'd probably like to bring up that Councillor Macon and myself attended the Mid-Size Mayors Caucus meeting in Canmore, and it was well attended by many mayors and councillors and MLAs. And I think it was just a really good information session. There are 2 days of information receiving and being able to provide feedback to the ministers, the MLAs. So I think it was really well embraced, and I don't know if you have any comments that you want to make on that one, because you did attend. As points of interest. Go ahead.
It was the first summit of its kind, and I really think that moving forward, it is going to be a really good opportunity for mid-sized cities to get together. It almost felt like a smaller Alberta Munis conference, and just the conversation and the ability to talk to your peers about a lot of the same issues and challenges that they're having in their community, I thought was well worth attendance. So I do think that it'll be a popular activity going forward for councils to get involved in.
Great, thank you. Councillor Kelly?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Katcher. I had anticipated at least one notice of motion for today, but I understand that we will be discussing during the in-camera section the Wastewater Commission. And I was hoping to get that information in front of council before we had to deal with a notice of motion. So will it be possible today, if I want to make a notice of motion following the in-camera session, to go back into public session for a minute or two?
I'm looking at Mr. Kaiser.
Through your worship to Councillor Kelly, yes, we can move to closed session and return to open. I'm not sure how much time would be required to discuss the wastewater matter before you want to come back. It might be helpful for staff to know. Do you have a time estimate?
I don't.
I have not, do you?
Okay, that's okay.
Let's assume half an hour.
Okay,
And
sure,
perhaps we could even have it as first on the agenda rather than last, just to make that an easier process.
Okay. Any councillor of inquiries of administration? Not seeing any. I'll take a motion to go in camera. Councillor Nguyen.
I'll move that. Sorry, was it on? Yeah, I'll move that council enter in camera to discuss matters under FOIP.
All right, thank you. The motion is closed. Please cast your vote. And that is carried 7-0. Councillor Kelly, are you on? Okay, so we have returned from in camera. Motion was put to return to open for the purposes of receiving one or two notice of motions. Councillor Kelly, you can read them in. Typically, I believe our procedure is that you would have provided these in writing to Legislative Services, so they would have them to be able to enter them in for correct wording. But I will let you read them in.
Thank you, Mayor Catcher. Yes, I agree. I should have these to them in advance. This is sort of an emerging issue in my mind. And I wanted to wait till we had our discussions. So the first motion and I think you told me in camera, Mayor Catcher, that the next council meeting is February 13th.
Believe so, yes.
Okay. The first notice of motion will be that council direct administration to assign personnel to monitor the activities of Arrow Utilities and report back to council on a timely basis. And I'll be making that motion at our next council meeting, February 13th.
Okay, and the second one?
The second one will be that this council provide notice to the commission and to the appropriate minister that at this particular juncture, we are not prepared to support the $50 million grant.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Andrew, you will capture those or Mr. Kaiser, I'm sorry, we're in a formal setting. You'll capture those for that. All right, thank you. Are there any other notice of motions? Not seeing any. Then I will take a motion to return to in camera to continue the purposes as per FOIP. Councillor Macon, all in favor, just use your hands if you're in favor. Okay, that's carried unanimously. Thank you. We will return to in camera.
And thank you, everybody.